Chevrolet Caprice Third Generation, 1977 to 1990. The 1977 Caprice Classic was drastically downsized, which reduced its weight and exterior dimensions, while increasing headroom, rear seat legroom and trunk space compared to 1976 models. GM called its downsizing program Project 77 and invested $600 million to develop the most changed full-size Chevrolet to date. The weight reductions from the 1976 models were 611 pounds, 277 kilograms, for coupes, 637 pounds, 289 kilograms, for sedans and 871 pounds, 395 kilograms, for wagons. The 1977 Caprice Coupe and Sedan were over 10 inches, 250 millimeters, shorter, while the wagon was 14 inches, 360 millimeters, shorter. Wheelbases were reduced to 116 inches, 2,900 millimeters, from 121.5 inches, 3,090 millimeters, for coupes and sedans, and 125 inches, 3,200 millimeters, for wagons. Width was reduced by 4 inches, 100 millimeters, for sedans and coupes. The wagon's width remained virtually unchanged. Heights were increased by 2.5 inches, 64 millimeters, and trunk capacities were increased to 20.9 cubic feet, 0.59 cubic meters, for sedans, and 19.8 cubic feet, 0.56 cubic meters, for coupes. Although by modern standards the 1977 downsized Chevrolet cars are quite large, the new Chevrolet had exterior dimensions closer to the intermediates of its day. The 1977 Caprice shared the same 116-inch, 2,900 millimeters, wheelbase of the intermediate-sized Chevrolet Chevrolet. 1977 marked the first year in history that a mid-sized car, the Monte Carlo, was larger than a full-sized car. This would be repeated in the 1980s by GM and Chrysler on multiple vehicles, then by Nissan in the early 2000s when the third-generation Nissan Altima was bigger than the concurrent fifth-generation Nissan Maxima. The introduction of such a small full-size car was considered quite a risk for General Motors. To help ensure the car was a success, preview clinics were held by Chevrolet which returned very positive results. Furthermore, the design process for this car was revolutionized. Ford would respond with advertising the Ford Limited traditional full-size attributes. In 1979 Ford released a true downsized full-size car with the introduction of the 1979 Ford Limited. Chrysler responded in 1979 when it re-engineered its intermediate B-body cars, and designated them the full-size R-bodies. However, these were not true downsized cars like GM and Ford introduced. 1977 models included a 4-door sedan, 2-door sedan, 6-passenger 2-seat station wagon, and an 8-passenger 3-seat station wagon. All models had window-framed doors. No hardtop models were offered. 2-door models featured a unique rear window that created a semi-fastback. This glass had sharp corners giving it 3 sides. This was done through hot wire bending process. The Caprice was available as either the Sport Coupe or as the Landau Coupe. The Landau Coupe features a partially covered vinyl roof. Station wagon models received a new 3-way tailgate for 1977, the clamshell tailgate was gone. The 3-seat models featured a rear-facing third seat for 2 occupants, making these cars 8-passenger models. The cargo capacity was reduced to 87 cubic feet, 2,500 liters, and although the station wagon could still carry a 4 feet 8 feet, 1.2 meters 2.4 meters, sheet of plywood, this could now only be done with the tailgate down. The station wagons used the coil spring suspension in the rear, as for the sedans and coupes. The headlight dimmer switch was also removed from the floor and incorporated into the turn signal lever for all 1977 models. All 1977 models were named Caprice Classics. A V8 engine was no longer standard equipment for the first time since 1965. The base engine for 1977 Chevrolet Caprice coupes and sedans was Chevy's long-running 250 cubic inches, 4.1 liters, 6-cylinder power plant rated at 110 horsepower, 82 kilowatts. This engine was last available in a full-size Chevy in 1973 in the lower line Bel Air. Standard on station wagons and optional on other Caprice models was a 145 horsepower, 108 kilowatts, 2-barrel 305 cubic inches, 5.0 liters, version of the Chevy small block V8. This was the first year the 305 cubic inches had been used in a full-size Chevrolet. It was first introduced in 1976 in compact and mid-sized Chevrolet lines. A 170 horsepower, 127 kilowatts 350 cubic inches, 5.7 liters, V8 with 4-barrel carburetor was now the top engine offering as the larger 400 cubic inches, 6.6 liters, and 454 cubic inches, 7.4 liters, V8s were discontinued. Standard for all models was the 3-speed turbo-hydramatic automatic transmission. With the new lighter weight and smaller engines, Chevrolet promised increased fuel economy without great loss of performance compared to 1976 models. The EPA estimates for 1977 Chevrolet was 17 miles per U.S. gallon, 14 liters/100 kilometers, 20 miles per gallon EMP, city and 22 miles per U.S. gallon, 11 liters/100 kilometers, 26 miles per gallon EMP, highway for 6-cylinder models. Ford's 1977 Limited was rated at 15 miles per U.S. gallon, 16 liters/100 kilometers, 18 miles per gallon EMP, city and 19 miles per U.S. gallon, 12 liters/100 kilometers, 23 miles per gallon EMP, highway with its smallest engine, the 302 cubic inches, 4.9 liters, V8. By the same EPA estimates, Plymouth's Grand Fury returned 13 mpg city and 18 mpg highway with a 318 V8. Performance was good when comparing the smaller 1977 Caprice to the 1976 Caprice. A 1976 352-barrel powered Chevrolet ran 0 to 60 miles per hour in 12.9 seconds, while a 400-powered model ran 10.7 seconds. 1977 models ran 11.4 seconds to 60 miles per hour, 97 kilometers per hour, with a 305 engine and 10.8 seconds with a 350 engine. Car and Driver tested a 1977 Chevrolet Impala with a 350 engine and 3.08:1 axle running a 9.6 seconds 0 to 60 miles per hour time and obtaining a 117 miles per hour, 188 kilometers per hour, top speed. The 350 was available with a 2.56:1 axle ratio and a 3.08 axle ratio, which may explain the difference in performance times. The 1977 models became the #1 selling car in the United States. In 1976, the previous generation full-size Chevrolet was the third bestseller. More than 660,000 full-size Chevrolets were produced for the 1977 model year, with the most popular model being the four-door Caprice Classic sedan, 212,840 produced. By 1978 more than 1 million downsized Chevrolets had been produced. Auto publications agreed with the public reception, with Motor Trend awarding the 1977 Chevrolet Caprice Car of the Year. Car and Driver declared even the most jaded car critics are in fact tripping over each other trying to be the first to anoint this sedan to be the best full-sized Chevrolet ever made. Car and Driver commented on the F41 suspension option, which included stiffer springs, larger sway bars, wheels, and tires, to say, "It will make you think your Chevy came from the Black Forest instead of Detroit." 1978 models had minor front and rear styling revisions. The engine lineup remained unchanged, but numerically lower axle ratios were used in an attempt to boost fuel economy. The 305 and 350 engines went from a standard 2.56:1 axle in 1977, 2.73:1 for wagons, to a 2.41:1 axle in 1978, 2.56:1 for wagons. An optional 3.08 axle was also available for 350 powered Caprices. The 305 V8 engine received an aluminum intake manifold which reduced engine weight by 35 pounds. A larger brake booster was also added to help reduce braking effort. New options included a steel sliding moonroof and 40-channel CB radio built into the AM/FM radio. The 1979 models continued with only minor refinements. Again, the front and rear styling was refreshed slightly. The 256 gained 5 horsepower, while the 305 V8 lost 15 horsepower, 11 kilowatts. The change to the 305 was a result of switching from the larger Rochester 2GC carburetor to the smaller Rochester dual-jet carburetor. The 350 engine was unchanged. This section does not cite any sources. Please help improve this section by adding citations to reliable sources. Unsourced material may be challenged and removed. September 2016, learn how and when to remove this template message. The 1980 Caprice Classic saw its first major revision since the 1977 downsizing. To further improve the fuel economy of the car, efforts were made to reduce weight and improve aerodynamics. The Caprice received new exterior sheet metal, without drastically changing the look of the car. To improve aerodynamics, the hood was tapered lower, while the trunk area was higher. The grille was now an egg crate style, while the taillight panel featured 3 separate square lights per side. All the doors and components within were redesigned to be lighter, including the window crank mechanisms, which now used a tape drive mechanism. Greater use of aluminum, including in-bumper reinforcement and in sedan/coupe radiators, helped to further reduce the overall weight of the vehicle. 1980 models were approximately 100 pounds, 45 kilograms, lighter than 1979 models. The new styling increased the trunk capacity of both coupes and sedans to 20.9 cubic feet, 0.59 cubic meters. This increase was also partially achieved with a now standard compact spare tire on a 16-inch, 410 mm, wheel. A new frame lift jack replaced the bumper-mounted model. A larger 25 US gallons, 95 liters, 21 imp gal, fuel tank was standard equipment in sedans and coupes. Easy roll radial tires, improved anti-corrosion measures, low friction ball joints, and larger front suspension bushings were also new for 1980. Puncture sealant tires and cornering lights were new options. The 250 cubic inches, 4.1 liters, 6, was replaced by a new 90-degree Chevrolet 3.8 liters, 229 cubic inches, V6 as the base engine for sedans and coupes. This engine shared the same bore and stroke as the 305 cubic inches V8. California emission cars use the Buick 3.8 liters, 231 cubic inches, V6 engine. The Chevrolet 3.8 liters was rated at 115 horsepower, 86 kilowatts, while the Buick V6 engine had a 110 horsepower, 82 kilowatts, rating. Although the 3.8 liters V6 had the same horsepower rating as the 256 used in 1979, the 250 had 25 pounds-feet, 34 Nm, more torque than the 3.8 liters, 200 pounds middle-feet versus 175 pounds middle-feet. The 3.8 liters V6 did boost Chevrolet Caprice's fuel economy to an EPA estimated 20 miles per US gallon, 12 liters/100 kilometers, 24 miles per gallon imp, city, and 29 miles per US gallon, 8.1 liters/100 kilometers, 35 miles per gallon imp, highway, the highest a full-size Chevrolet had been rated to date. The base V8 engine was new for 1980. The 4.4 liters 267 cubic inches V8 rated at 115 horsepower, 86 kilowatts, and was the standard engine for station wagons. This engine had a Rochester dual-jet carburetor, and was not available in California. The 2-barrel carburetor on the 305 cubic inches, 5.0 liters, V8 was replaced with a 4-barrel, increasing the 305's output to 155 horsepower, 116 kilowatts. This was now the most powerful engine option, standard on California station wagons, as the 350 cubic inches, 5.7 liters, V8 was no longer available, except as part of the police package option. The Oldsmobile-built 350 cubic inches diesel V8 was added to the option list for station wagons. This engine was rated at 105 horsepower, 78 kilowatts, and 205 pounds-feet, 278 Nm. To further increase fuel economy, all transmissions were equipped with an electronically controlled lock-up torque converter clutch. 1981 models saw only minor revisions. Styling was unchanged other than the grille, which remained egg crate style but now had larger sections. Refinements included redesigned front disc brakes for less drag and a translucent plastic master cylinder reservoir. The cruise control became equipped with a resume feature, while wire wheel covers had locking bolts to secure them in place. This was the last year for the Delco GM 40-channel CB radio built into the AM/FM radio option. The engine lineup remained unchanged, although the 3.8 liters 229 cubic inches V6 was now rated at 110 horsepower, 82 kilowatts, and the 5.0 liters 305 cubic inches V8 was rated at 150 horsepower, 112 kilowatts. All engines were updated with a computer command control (CCC) system, which included an electronically metered carburetor. This change occurred in 1980 for California emission cars and did not occur to Canadian emission cars until 1987. The Oldsmobile-built 350 cubic inches diesel V8 was added to the option list for the coupe and sedan models during the model year. 1982 models saw only minor styling revisions. The model lineup was reduced by one, with the Caprice Landau coupe dropped. Remaining were the sedan, sport coupe, 6-passenger wagon, and the 8-passenger wagon. A new 4-speed automatic overdrive transmission with a lock-up torque converter joined the powertrain lineup. This transmission helped boost highway fuel economy, while improving city performance with a 3.08:1 rear axle ratio. The overdrive transmission was only available with the 305 cubic inches V8, and was a mandatory option for this engine. The engine lineup and power ratings remained unchanged. The 350 cubic inch diesel V8 engine was now available on all models. 1983 was marked with the fewest models to date. No 2-door models were produced, leaving only the 4-door and the 8-passenger station wagon, since the 6-passenger wagon also left the lineup. The 4.4 liters 267 cubic inches engine was discontinued, but all other engines remained unchanged. The 305 cubic inches engine and the automatic overdrive transmission was standard on station wagons. The 350 cubic inches diesel was available with the automatic overdrive transmission at extra cost, while the 305 cubic inches V8 came equipped only with the automatic overdrive transmission. The 1983 Chevrolet Caprice Classic was selected on the Car and Driver 10 Best list. The 1984 model year saw the return of the 2-door Sport Coupe, making a 3-model lineup. Styling remained unchanged. 1984 models were virtually identical to the 1981 models. The windshield washer controls were moved from the dashboard to the turn signal stalk to create the multi-stalk. The optional cruise control, which continued to be mounted on the turn signal stalk, now featured acceleration, deceleration in 1 mile per hour, 1.6 kilometers per hour, increments. An optional Landau package included a vinyl roof, sport mirrors, and reveal moldings. Powertrain availability and power ratings were unchanged for 1984. The 350 cubic inches diesel engine came standard with an automatic overdrive transmission when equipped in station wagons. 1983 saw the introduction of a Caprice clone from Canada, the Pontiac Parisienne. While this car bore Pontiac emblems and trim similar to the pre-1982 Bonneville, it was a Caprice in every other way. Pontiac dealers gained a full-size car again, and buyers did not seem to mind that the car was virtually the same as the contemporary Caprice. It sold well enough to remain available until 1986 for the sedan and 1989 for the Safari station wagon. 1985 models received minor updates while styling remained unchanged. The interior was updated for 1985, marking its most significant updates since 1977. The simulated wood grain applique used on the dash was replaced with a simulated silver metallic applique. The shaft-style radio was replaced with a more modern din-and-a-half style radio, while the pull-out headlight switch was replaced by a push-button style switch. The climate controls were updated with rotary switches for the fan and rear window defroster replacing the toggle-style switches. The instruments were updated to have a more modern appearance, with a horizontal speedometer while a round speedometer was included with the optional gauge package. The engine lineup saw major changes for 1985. The 4.3 liters V6 engine, 262 cubic inches, with throttle body fuel injection, RPOLB4, replaced both 3.8 liters V6s in 1985 as the base engine for sedans and coupes. The 4.3 liters engine was rated at 130 horsepower, 97 kilowatts, and 210 pounds-feet, 285 Nm, producing 20 horsepower, 15 kilowatts, more than the 229 cubic inches V6. The 4.3 liters V6 shared its bore and stroke with a 350 cubic inches Chevrolet V8. This engine came standard with a 3-speed automatic but was available with a 4-speed automatic overdrive transmission. The 5.0 liters 305 cubic inches V8 engine received an electronic spark control and compression was increased from 8.6 to 1 to 9.5 to 1. This caused the 305's output to jump to 165 horsepower, 123 kilowatts. The 350 cubic inches diesel engine remained unchanged, as it was dropped in January. This section does not cite any sources. Please help improve this section by adding citations to reliable sources. Unsourced material may be challenged and removed. December 2019. Learn how and when to remove this template message. 1986 marked the first major exterior restyle since 1980. From 1986 to 1990, the Caprice was the only sedan riding on the B platform. All other sedans had been discontinued or transferred to the smaller, front-wheel drive H platform. The front fascia was restyled to have a more aerodynamic look. The Caprice emblem was no longer a stand-up hood ornament, but was an emblem located on the vertical area directly above the grille in the center of the front fascia. A smaller grille with prominent vertical chrome divider bars replaced the larger previous egg grate grille. The redesigned front end still had two side-by-side rectangular sealed beam headlamps, as had been used on the Caprice since 1976. The taillights were restyled, but continued to have 3 chambers, another long-running Caprice styling cue. New aerodynamic side view mirrors were used. The car's sheet metal remained otherwise unchanged. The former Impala was rebranded as Caprice, without Classic appended, unifying all full-size Chevrolets under a single model name for the first time since the early 1930s. Still available was a Caprice Classic 4-door sedan, coupe and 8-passenger station wagon, while a new Brougham 4-door sedan joined the model lineup. Brougham models featured a 55-45 front seat with armrest, and a new pillow design with velour fabrics. Brougham's featured wood grain applique on its dash fascia, a dome map light, front door courtesy lights and 20 ounces carpeting. Power window controls for all models moved from the door panel to the armrest for improved ergonomics. The 4.3 liters V6 engine received a 10 horsepower, 7.5 kilowatts, boost, rated at 140 horsepower, 104 kilowatts. The 305 cubic inches engine was unchanged and remained standard on station wagons. Station wagons built after approximately November 1, 1985 came equipped with the Oldsmobile-built 307 cubic inches engine, and the 305 cubic inches was no longer available in station wagons. This engine was used in all GMB body station wagons from this point on to simplify production. The 307 was equipped with a 4-barrel carburetor and was rated at 140 horsepower, 104 kilowatts, and 255 pounds-feet, 346 Nm. The 350 cubic inches diesel engine was discontinued. The 1987 models received minor styling revisions. Composite aerodynamic headlamps replaced the formerly sealed beam bulbs, and a stand-up hood ornament returned. A simulated wood-grain dashboard finish, last used on the 1984 models, returned. Citation needed: the model range was slightly revised, and now included a base-level Caprice 8-passenger wagon and a Caprice Classic Brougham LS 4-door sedan. The Brougham LS featured all the Brougham amenities plus a padded vinyl roof, opera lights, and LS monograms. Leather upholstery was a newly available option for Brougham and Brougham LS sedans, which also had a new pillow-style seating design and a folding center armrest in the back seat. Exterior colors for the Brougham LS were now limited to conservative colors compared to the 1986 model: white, black, burgundy, dark blue, and dark gray. The trim level names stacked up: Caprice, Caprice Classic, Caprice Classic Brougham, and Caprice Classic Brougham LS in ascending order of price and plushness. The engine offerings received only minor changes. The 4.3 liters V6 and the 305 cubic inches V8 were updated with roller lifters and center bolt valve covers. The 305 cubic inches had a 5 horsepower, 3.7 kilowatts, rating increase and was now rated at 170 horsepower, 127 kilowatts, and 250 pounds-feet, 339 Nm. The 307 cubic inches Oldsmobile-built V8 remained unchanged and was the only available engine for the station wagons. Some Canadian-sold Chevrolet Caprice sedans used the 307 cubic inches Oldsmobile-built V8 in place of the Chevrolet-built 305 cubic inches engine during the 1987 model year. The 1988 model range was revised, with the Sport Coupe dropped due to low sales. There was now just one station wagon model, an 8-passenger configuration. Engines remained unchanged, and the 4-speed automatic overdrive transmission was standard equipment. Other standard equipment for all models included tinted glass, a remote control driver's side view mirror, automatic headlight on, off, and an AM/FM stereo. A police version of the Caprice wagon was made. It had the code 182 and was designed for special service use. 1989 marked the first year of a fuel-injected V8 engine. The 305 cubic inches V8 was updated with throttle body electronic fuel injection, RPOLO3, first introduced in 1987 on Chevrolet, GMC pickups and vans. This engine was rated at 170 horsepower, 127 kilowatts, and 255 pounds-feet, 346 Nm, which was only a slight increase in torque over the carbureted engine. However, as a result of fuel injection, the cold weather starts, drivability, fuel economy, and emissions were all improved. The 4.3 liters V6 was no longer the base engine, and was now only available in taxi and police option Caprices. The 307 engine remained unchanged for station wagons. Rear seat passengers received shoulder belts for the outboard positions and air conditioning was standard on all models. 1990 was essentially a carryover year and marked the last year for this body style. New for 1990 were door-mounted front seat belts, quick connect fuel lines for the 305 cubic inches engine, revised interior colors, new metallic paint color choices, and Scotchgard protected interior fabrics. The model range and engine offerings were unchanged. The 1990 Caprice was only produced until the end of 1989, citation needed, when production was shut down to prepare for the redesigned 1991 models. A police package, orderable under GM's regular production option code 9C1, was introduced for the new base model Caprice that replaced the Impala for 1986. In the 1986 Michigan State Police tests, the Chevrolet Caprice was competitive with the Ford Limited Crown Victoria, Dodge Diplomat and Plymouth Grand Fury. The Caprice had the fastest quarter-mile times of the three, and the best fuel economy. The Dodge and Plymouth outran the Caprice in the 0 to 100 miles per hour times, but placed last in the road course times. However, there was only a 1/3 second difference between the fastest and slowest vehicles on the road course. All four cars were very close in competition for 1986, and there was little performance difference. For 1987, the 9C1 Caprice changed little. The 350-4 barrels engine received a boost in compression, roller lifters, and new center bolt valve covers. The 180 horsepower, 134 kilowatts, rating of this engine helped boost the Caprice's performance above its competition. The 4.3 liters LB4 V6 engine remained available, but was marketed towards urban police departments with less need for performance. 1516, Michigan State Police tests had the Chevrolet Caprice beating its competition from Ford, Dodge, and Plymouth in almost every category. The Caprice had the quickest quarter-mile times and 0 to 100 miles per hour times, the highest top speed, the fastest road course time, and the best fuel economy, though the Plymouth and Dodge had shorter braking distances. 15. The 1987 Chevrolet Caprice won the contract for the Michigan State Police and would hold this contract until 1996 when the Caprice was discontinued. For 1988, the 9C1 Caprice was again unchanged. Michigan State Police tests proved to be more competitive, with the Ford Limited Crown Victoria showing a strong improvement in performance. The Plymouth and Dodge models continued unchanged and were not competitive with the Chevrolet and Ford. 17. 1988 test showed the Caprice with the fastest quarter-mile and 0 to 100 miles per hour times, the best fuel economy, the fastest road course time, although it tied with the Ford, and the best ergonomics. The Ford edged out the Chevrolet with a 1 mile per hour, 1.6 kilometers per hour, faster top speed and better brakes, but the Chevrolet scored second place for both those categories. Overall, the Chevrolet scored the highest in the competition, followed by the Ford, Dodge, and Plymouth. For 1989, the 9C1 Caprice received some major changes to the drivetrain. All engines were now equipped with throttle body fuel injection, shared with the truck, Ben lineup and based on the LB4 4.3 liters TBI injection system first used with the 1985 model year passenger cars, and the 305 cubic inches, 5.00 liters, engine, RPOLO3, was now added to the options list. The available engines were now the 4.3 liters, 260 cubic inches, V6, the 305 cubic inches, 5.00 liters, and 350 cubic inches, 5.7 liters, V8S, which was only available on police package models. The V6 and 350 engines were equipped with TH700R4 transmissions while the 305 engine used the TH204R transmission. The V6 and the 305 used a 3.08:1 axle ratio, while the 350 powered cars now used a 3.42:1 axle ratio. 18. The 4.3 liters remained at 140 horsepower, 104 kilowatts, while the 305 TBI engine was rated at 170 horsepower, 127 kilowatts, and the 350 TBI engine was rated at 190 horsepower, 142 kilowatts. 18. Unlike the LO5 used with the GMT 400 light-duty truck and van line including the R/V series, the police spec LO5 used the roller camshaft sourced from its TPI-equipped F-bodies and Corvette along with high-flow fuel injectors. The 350 powered Caprice did well again at Michigan State Police tests for pursuit-rated cars. It had the fastest 0 to 100 miles per hour, the fastest road course time, the highest top speed and the best fuel economy. The Dodge Diplomat and Ford Limited Crown Victoria outbraked the Caprice, and the Plymouth Fury and Dodge Diplomat had better ergonomics than the Caprice. 1990 was another carryover year for the 9C1 Caprice, with the only major change being door-mounted seatbelts. In Michigan State Police tests, The only competition was from the Ford Limited Crown Victoria, as the production of the Dodge Diplomat and Plymouth Grand Fury had ended during 1989. The Caprice won all 6 categories for 1990, having the quickest 0 to 100 times, the fastest road course times, the best brakes, highest top speed, the best fuel economy, and the best interior ergonomics. This was the first time any car had won all 6 categories in Michigan State Police tests.